Hi, James. I decided these were actually probably better to do using your calculator. That's 25, 26, 27, 29, 30, and 31. Um, or just by talking and showing you with my making the steps on the calculator. I think you'll find that these are all easier to do by using the graphing functions rather than by using like arcsine to do them. So, for example, the first one we have sine of theta equals zero point 0.4. So first we got to make sure that our window is right. So let's go ahead and set that up. You have to be within 0 and -2. So x min should be 0, x max should be 2 pi, or you have to be between 0 and 2 pi, that is. So this should be 2 times pi, I think, for the x max. And for y, you can kind of just be sort of anywhere. I think -5 to 5 should give you enough of a range to get it right. So we'll do that. We'll start with that anyway. If it doesn't work out, we'll worry about it later. All right, so now let's go to the editor. Okay, so sine of theta was one of them, so we'll go sine of x for one of our graphs. And then the other graph we'll put in 0.4, which is what it is. And I guess we'll just go ahead and graph it that way, see what we get. Well, we get our sine function, and we get the next line. So, okay, now let's go ahead and determine the intersection. So let me see, how do you do that? I think it's calc. And intersect, and can we see our first curve? Yeah, I guess we're on the, well, here we'll back up a little bit so we can see it better. So that'll be our first curve there. Our second curve will be there. Let's go ahead and guess at the first value, which will be down there somewhere. Okay, and that gives us 0.41155, and they wanted it to 2 decimal places, so I guess that's going to give us 0.41 as one of our values. And let's go ahead and get the next value. Do the same thing again. Calc, intersect, first curve, second curve, and we'll guess it over at the next value. And that gives us 2.73 as the next term. And you can see that the advantage to doing it this way is you don't see any intersections, other intersections within the range of interest, which is from 0 to 2 pi, because we're careful to graph it that way. So you're sure that there's only 2 answers to this one, and those are the 2 answers. Okay, so that was 25. Let's go ahead and try 26 now. We'll go back here, and instead of sine of x, we should have cosine of x. Hang on a second here. Yeah, cosine of x, and we want this to be 0.6 instead of 0.4. Now we'll just go ahead and graph it. And we see our cosine function coming up first. And again, you see that you're going to get 2 values within the range, so just go to calc, intersection, first curve, second curve, and we'll go ahead and take our first guess. Down here somewhere. So that gives us 0.93 for one of our answers. And for the next one, we'll go ahead and calculate it. First curve, second curve, and this time we'll guess it down where the other intersection is. And that gives it to us at 5.36, it looks like. All right, so let's go back to the Y editor and put in the next one, which is going to be problem 27. That's tangent theta. So we'll go tangent x, and the value they want you to do is 5. So we might need to change our window again because we had it just going from -5 to 5, so we might want to change the top one to 6 instead of 5. That should probably do it. So at least we'll be able to see where it's intersecting. And you see that it intersects twice. Well, actually, 3. I think maybe we want to plot this one better using the other. I think we're going to go to dot mode. Okay, now we'll go ahead and graph it. Okay, and you see that it intersects in 2 places, so we'll go ahead and do the calc. Intersect, and we can make that our first curve. That would be fine. Well, why don't we go down to the other curve? Oh, I guess there actually are only 2 curves. Okay, so that's our first curve, that's our second curve, and we'll guess it down at the first intersection, which happens at 1.37. Okay, and we'll get the next intersection now. Calc, intersect. Okay, that's the first curve, that's the second curve, and we'll pick up the second intersection down here this time. And that gives us it gives us a 4.51, I guess. 4.51 for that answer. All right, so now we're jumping ahead to 29. And for that one,